Many of you have been asking for this for many months. I'm happy to finally dig in. Every comment I've gotten has been, if you like Ado, you'll really like what Nainlana is doing. She plays with her voice a lot, but in different ways, I hear. See what kind of contrasts we can pull out, and maybe I'll learn a thing or two about my own voice in the process. I love songs that start with breath. There's a connection instantly. She sounds much younger, and she sounds small at this point. Not small in a bad way, just a very focused, higher disposition. That was an interesting fry engagement there. Grow the note a little bit and then abandon up into fry. Like that. Cool coordination. So there's another unique use of fry, which is the thing that's standing out most at this point. She tends to go into this sort of posture quite often, but also notice in this last section, she was able to add weight to her voice while still maintaining that small, petite sound. So in other words, she didn't change the shape so much of what she was doing. We hear Ado do that a ton, where she'll go from here to here. She'll bring the resonance back. She'll lengthen her vocal tract. Here, she's maintaining consistency in the shape of her vocal tract and adding a bit more airflow, a bit more compression to that. And then when she creates this fry sound, it stands out in kind of a cool way because there's a lot of back pressure going on. There's one of those growls. If I sing. And notice, she's using it in a healthy way. She's using it in a short duration, and then she goes back into clean singing. We wouldn't want to sing like this for very long because it's hard on our throat. The epiglottis is doing this, and it's creating a lot of vibration that tends to get in the way sometimes of proper phonation. Okay, let's break down that line a little bit. Could I see you? Just get the notes. I'm going to do it in head voice, and then I'm going to lower it so I can do it in chest voice, and then use fry in the same ways that she's using it. I'm going to start with it forward, and belty, hit the listener right between the eyes, and then I'm going to practice moving the resonance backward. It's going to be a little bit more nasal. You can see me changing the shape of my mouth. And when I moved it back like that, you notice there's a little bit of that going on. When I tend to move the resonance backward while maintaining breath pressure, my voice will fry out. Most people's voices will. And you could. She brings it back just a little bit there. There's kind of a fringy fry thing happening, and then she really fries out towards the end of that line. What's cool though here is that she doesn't fully abandon into fry. She's using it as this sort of mopey, desperate sound, which with phonation just adds to the sort of conflict here where we have someone that is being loved. I have the lyrics pulled up here and I'm following along. We have someone who's being loved and desired, yet there's this conflict of feeling like this person is selfish and unfair and unjust. Nice growl there again. Listen to how shaky and unsure she sounds, and then she just... Hear how much brighter it gets? She has much more confidence and less desperation in that particular line than I portrayed, but my growl doesn't go that high, and so I went into a break distortion, which if you've watched any of my audio videos, you'll understand. Head voicey, small, then she adds support. She starts mixing, and she lets her voice shake. And there's the little bits of fry because she's throwing that resonance back and being on the sort of ragged edge of her vocal cords there. And then puts that aggression in with that growl. Lana is a multi-dimensional vocalist. There are so many sounds that she's creating that are connected to what she's trying to express. If you'd like help doing that with your own voice, click the link below in the pinned comment or video description and join my free course. I'll help you pull from what you're hearing, try things in a healthy, non-judgmental way, and discover things in your voice you never knew were there. You hear it go from dark to bright and brash. Oh, whoa. Yes, variety in different ways than Ado, for sure. We would do her an injustice to constantly be comparing her to Ado. She has got her own set of artful expressions, and it's fun. It's fun to hear the differences and embrace them as who she is as a vocalist. I like how they dried everything up and just put her right at the front there as everything else went away. Neat production trick. Because we have a lot of background vocals going on that widen the sound of the voice. Her performance dynamics don't change all that much from this section to where she's totally by herself. But because we've stripped everything else out, including the background vocals, we get this really intimate moment with her voice. Neat chromatic stuff there. Heavy song. Love the guitars, love the groove. Love the bass guitar movement. This style where you've got this sort of, it's frantic yet controlled at the same time. It's because of all the different ways the instruments are being used. Small, head voice and authoritative. I love hearing that weight come in on her voice. Something that she's growing gradually and sort of sprinkling in as the song progresses. She's really good at controlling and expressing with her dynamics and her vocal size as well as weight. how she grows it, and it gets much brighter and brasher, even though she's going down in pitch. I really liked that growl. How it was placed. It's like she places those at the top of her intensity, which is different than how a lot of people use them. A lot of people will abandon into a different type of distortion because other types of distortion feel like more of a ceiling, which sometimes those are easier. And the one that I did earlier, also compression-based distortion, which we hear Ado do a lot. Yeah! Where we get that sort of harmonic distortion based on constriction, or the hey! Yay! Where we're abandoning into that place right in between our break. I haven't heard her do any of those. She uses this desperate low pressure fry a lot, and then she'll use the growl. I spoke too soon. There's that compression-based distortion. Was a little bit of that grit on it, and then she abandoned right out of it, which was fun. You can tell she's not locked in any one posture. Slide! I loved that sound. Such a slow slide. Her tempo, her sense of timing in the midst of this sort of chaotic instrumental is spot on. And that slide with that growl demonstrated that, as well as other things. She didn't quite get to the note either. You can't do this kind of nuanced vocal articulation if you're ratcheted down with tuning. That's another thing I appreciate about this genre and about this performance is I don't hear tuning taking over the expression of the vocalist. They might tune a note here and there, but they're not auto-tuning or pitch correcting everything or ratcheting it down with an algorithm. They are letting the vocalist express. I don't hear any tuning, which is great. That was a neat chord change. You think you'd think it would be there on that minor one, but no. So for those of you music theory nerds, it went to a 6-7-1 progression, but whereas the one before was minor, now the one is major. Now, she leaned back into that fry, but there's also this sense that she's using a bit of that that consciousness of where her break is to trigger that fry. So this is very similar to what I was demonstrating earlier, that abandon sort of scream, doing it in her own way though. You hear at the very end of that distortion, you hear her sort of, ah! You hear a little bit of that sound. Listen as she slides up. I like that she goes down in pitch. She pulls her support out, throws that resonance back. So you can sort of hear me finding that area where my voice is breaking up and then leaning in to that fry response. Oh, it's so masterfully placed here as well. Falling off on that pitch as she falls apart with her voice. I like how she's doing the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. She's creating different vocal inflections with each repetition. Extra expressive. So worried. I love her use of fry and shakiness and desperation and then growl. There's so many things going on here. I'm glad that I got to hear a lot of different forms of distortion. Now that arc, that ascent is far more than just production. It's far more than just the doubles we hear. She changed with each repetition, her intensity, her tone and inflection, her placement. Let's listen to that again. Very covered and mellow and soft. Adding a little bit more weight, putting a little bit of that fry sound in there, and then smiling. You hear her smile a bit. Now you hear that sheen come in. There's a brightness and a brashness to it. And then she adds she adds that in there. She releases out of that bright, brash, harsher posture. Now you hear a little bit of the growl coming in. Love that chromatic. Beautiful, all over the place, yet masterfully orchestrated, produced, and arranged. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can see why you guys wanted me to check out Nine Lana, and specifically this song. So many things going on. I can't possibly pick up on everything in the first listen, but wow. The thing that stood out to me the most was the way that she tends to use fry and desperate, that sort of shaky posture in combination with her more aggressive sound, but also how much restraint she showed as the arrangement and as the vocal lines developed. it kept me constantly wondering where she was going to go, what she was going to throw at us, because she was so attentive to the dynamics of the track while not giving away all of her tricks within the first, minute. I mean, it took the whole song for me to really get a sense of how diverse and connected her voice really is. Again, if you would like help doing this with your voice, pulling from emotions that you feel, pulling from inspirations that you hear, and trying things new with your voice, click the link below in the pinned comment or video description and join my free course. And be sure to check out all of the auto videos right here in this playlist. The list is growing week by week. Thanks again for suggesting this one. We'll see you for more.